we have got a new Warhammer The Old World article, and it actually tells us every faction that is going to be playable in the new game, and some which are going to be the main focus and some which aren't. So let me jump in and show you. So the article is basically what they say here. It's about revealing the main factions for the game, the who, the where, and the when. Now, I'm not going to read all of the fluffy bits that tell you about the lore. If you want to read that, you can probably just read the article yourself. But there is some very interesting bits in here. So let's go through the main factions, the good and the evil. I like the fact that they're literally just going to call it the good and the evil. And you can see on the left-hand side, the good side, we have the Empire, the Dwarves, the Bretonnians, the Wood Elves, and the High Elves. And for the evil side, we have the Orcs and Goblins, Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, and Tomb Kings. Now, there are some very noticeable admissions here, but don't worry, that's going to be revealed in a moment. Now, what it says here is that these armies will have rules published alongside the launch of the Old World and will be pivotal players in the events covered in the narrative expansions and supplements. What's interesting here is that we're getting narrative expansions. We are actually going to be getting extra stuff that's not just, you know, a launch box, PDF rules and calling it a day. We are going to be getting extra interesting stuff here, like a narrative expansion and obviously various supplements. Now, the next line is also very important and very interesting. Fans of these armies can look forward to seeing some new shiny miniatures that will accompany the return of many classic kits. So if you play one of these factions, you're going to be getting new shiny minis. Very exciting for you guys. Now, I personally play the Dark Elves. Well, I don't actually play them because they're still in bits and bobs and I haven't actually assembled or painted them yet, but they're not on this list. Now, it does talk about how, you know, what clans are fighting who, the Empire's fighting, you know, whoever, and all this kind of stuff here if you want to read this. But let me get to the actual good stuff. What about the other factions? Now, certain factions people remember from Warhammer Fantasy are not part of the narrative we're telling with the Old World. Basically, because of the setting, these armies basically don't really make sense. They're focusing on the part of the map that is the Old World. But keep in mind that they are going to be provided with rules at the launch of the game. And these factions are thus: Dark Elves, Skavens, Vampire Counts, Demons of Chaos, Ogre Kingdoms, Lizard Men, and Chaos Dwarfs. Chaos Dwarfs for me is a weird one there, but fair enough, we knew they were coming, so they're confirmed. And the way this is going to happen is that they're going to be available in a free PDF at launch. So I suspect that these armies are going to be in the rule book and going to make perfect sense. They're going to have like stories and new miniatures and stuff like that. And then these are sort of like the B tier. They're not going to get any new stuff, but you're going to be able to play them. And they do actually sort of tell you why. It's also worth noting that we don't plan on publishing rules for Warhammer Age of Sigmar miniatures, except those that were part of the setting during the final edition. So the ones where there are actual crossover, yes, but anything new, that's not coming. That's interesting because I thought they might maybe do that. So they do say what the Skaven are up to, how at this point they weren't, you know, people thought that they weren't real. They talk about how the von Karsteins are actually all dead at this point, except for a couple of them maybe. They're all, the rest of them are actually in hiding. The Dark Elves, Lizard Men, Chaos Dwarfs, and Ogre Kingdoms, they are based far away from the Old World during this period, and they're inward insular races, so they're not involved either. Chaos Demons are also in, they're just like with the ebb and flow of chaos, and you know, they'll come and have their time at some point. Now, one last little bit of information here before we start looking at the pretty pictures is that it does say that Warhammer the Old World is marching closer to release. That is the first proper indication I've seen that where they've said, hey, it's not a long time away, it's getting closer. Well, they may have said it once or twice before, but here I think it's quite important. Does definitely put fuel on the rumours of this game coming out this year, towards the end of this year, maybe around Christmas time, October, November, something like that. And it's worth noting that there will be another development update in June. So we are getting them now once every month. I literally made a video yesterday looking at the Cities of Sigmar stuff, and I was like, hey, when's the next update? Little did I know that it's literally the next day. I also think it's safe to assume that any models that you see in these pictures where the images or the models themselves are not currently in production, they are going to be coming back. I'm not sure which ones are in production, especially when it comes to the Wood Elves at the minute, because I know some of them are still around, but I don't know which ones are and which ones aren't. The cavalry though, for the Orcs, they're going to be coming back, pretty confident here. I don't know about these dwarfs specifically, but if they're not currently in production, they will be. And I think it's safe to assume that pretty much every high health here will be coming back if it isn't already. So to me, it's pretty much what we expected. Every race that was available and playable in 8th will be playable in the new edition. It's just that they're sort of saying, hey, we're actually just going to focus on this group first. These 9 armies, these will be getting new miniatures. Old stuff will be coming back. The others, on the other hand, the old stuff might not be coming back is part of the implication here, but you will have PDF rules if you currently already have this units, you have these models, you will actually be able to play them. It's worth noting that, for example, Dark Elves, the one that I've actually sort of in the middle of buying and playing and stuff like that, pretty much everything's available. There's probably some exceptions that I can't think of off the top of my head, but the models pretty much already exist as part of the Cities of Sigmar stuff. So yeah, that probably applies to Skaven as well. Vampire counts, I'm a little bit less sure about. I don't really know. Demons, I'm thinking are probably still around. The Ogre Kingdoms are still around. Lizard Men, you can just buy the new stuff if you really want to. Chaos Dwarves, well, I've literally no idea. If you're not going to get new models, or the old models returning, I should say, I don't know. Some people are saying there's some stuff for Age of Sigmar. I literally just don't know enough about it, right? Either way, for me, that's sort of what I expected. When they gave us that information at Warhammer Fest, those were sort of the factions you would anticipate, because lore-wise at the time that they were setting this, it makes sense. And what I think they're saying is that even though the other races, they might not fit into the lore right now, we're not going to stop you from playing them. So we're going to give you rules. Just know that they're not the focus. They're not going to get new models, whereas it's confirmed that the other 9, well, it sounds like they're all going to get new models as well. It's very exciting. I'm probably going to be looking at one of the factions that are in this list, either the Empire or something like that, and I'm very excited. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to support this channel, then you can become a Patreon. Otherwise, have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.